You're listening to RevUp, a podcast about faith, family, and moto. I'm John Parkinson, president of PanicREV Ministries.
And I'm Zach Cummins, former Supercross racer. We're sitting down each week to talk with professional athletes about the unique crossroads of Christian life and action sports, to offer you a view into the motivations that drive those at the top.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of RevUp. We're back here, episode 7, I believe. We made it further than I thought, I think. You got
I didn't realize it'd been 7. Yeah. I guess having some memory loss makes it feel new every time, right?
Yeah. So what's been going on, man? How are things over there? We getting outside anymore? We got crazy stuff going on in
I had a big outing. I made it outside. Things are going okay. We had racing, which is great, and we will get to. But yeah, I had my first big outing. Went outside. Unfortunately, it was down to Long Beach after the what were peaceful protests in the day turned into crazy riots in the evening. The restaurant company that my mom works with, one of their restaurants down there just got totally ransacked. So her and some of the other higher ups at the company had to make their way down there real early, and she was nervous about it. So we jumped in my dad's truck. I drove with her. We went down to Long Beach at like 4 a.m. And dude, it was from being inside for 3 months, you know, I mean, obviously I've been around the neighborhood like we've joked about, but basically being removed from society for 3 months to then come out of my hole and cruise through a dark Long Beach that had National Guard and military vehicles and all that. It was intimidating. And, you know, some really, honestly, I think kind of senseless violence took place inside the restaurant. That was a bummer. It's been a bummer to see kind of the dark side of things happening.
Yeah, it's been a bummer, man. Seeing what's been going on. By no means do I condone things that have happened as far as violence in any fashion. It's not okay to meet violence with violence, and that's kind of what we're seeing more and more, unfortunately. We have a voice. We need to be able to voice that voice and stand firm in voicing that voice.
Definitely.
But when we meet violence with violence is when things go wrong. And unless, again, that violence is justified.
Sure.
With us.
Yeah.
It's a hard place to be, man. And
it's
a sad place for our country. Just kind of on the backside of the COVID thing, and now we're dealing with all this. It's not good.
Absolutely.
But the biggest thing that we as believers and Christians can stand upon is to know that God is in total control, and we have somebody that truly does love us and cares for us. And in these times is we need to stand firm in that and go in prayer and be there for one another, wherever we stand, and be there for not just my brother like you, but outside of our reaches, and just to be there for the community and
our human community. Our children of God community. I totally agree. I mean, obviously you and I have talked about this ad nauseum by now. And I don't imagine everyone is listening for a racial political conversation, but yeah, I mean, we come out on it pretty similar, right? It's a time to open our hearts as Christians, to love our neighbors. And for me, just to educate myself on the issues at hand, to be humble enough as a Christian and as a man to realize there are ways I can be better, and reading what I can, figuring it out. And, all these people are uprising for a reason, and I need to understand that. And that's my role as a citizen. But I think we're on the same page as that, as we've talked about. So being the best men we can be is important, and contributing to our community. But how about you, man? Still family time, right? I mean, nothing too crazy out by you and Marietta.
We had a little bit, some protests that didn't really get out of control, but could have got out of control. And the city came in, the sheriff's departments came in and whatnot, and kind of de-escalated a few things, but
that's good.
Everything for the most part was peaceful, and again, I stand upon being able to do so.
Absolutely. No, it's great to see that aspect of it for sure.
But yeah.
BMX with Asher, more?
BMX with Asher, picking back up. Next week, we're actually going to be doing a big race out in Arizona. We're actually going to do some traveling. So hopefully that goes well. And I actually was at baseball practice last night with the other boys. Actually, just one of the kids, Dylan. And then camp. Camp has creeped up, dude. Like,
you only got a couple weeks?
I got 2 weeks, man. So camp in Texas coming up, trying to get things out in for that. Again, like with the COVID thing, kind of everything got put on hold. Now I'm pushing fast forward on everything, trying to catch back up and get everything dialed in there. So here we go. Camp Rev in Texas, and then get home. And I think like a week later, Camp Rev here at Glen Helen. So should be exciting. It should be fun to get people hopefully outside of their house and together in community and do camp like we try to do and create an atmosphere that is normal and having some fun. So
speaking of normal and things that are not at all normal, we have had 2 races this week, one in the middle of the day and one very late at night.
Yep. Yeah, back to racing. Different schedule, different like we spoke last week with KP, some unknowns.
Absolutely.
But racing Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday was in the afternoon. At the very least, we're racing, right?
Absolutely. And good racing, I think, right?
Yeah.
I mean, some of it's been pretty solid racing.
Yeah. Last night, just going there since it's most recent, the 450 class was really good.
Yeah.
Our buddy Zach Osborne, whole shot led for a long time. I spoke to him a little bit last night. Pretty bummed that he wasn't able to hold on to it, but best ride of the season. And again, like without the COVID thing, not that I'm praising that it happened.
Of course,
Zach wouldn't be racing anymore Supercross. So the little break helped him out. He got on the box for, I think, the first time of the season. So that's cool.
Some very thin silver linings, but something to be acknowledged that, it worked out in a way that they're at least racing and continuing their career at the top. Yeah. It's been cool and fun. Just we've had 2 races, but our roster, like our lineup from the podcast, pretty strong. We're doing pretty well. I feel like maybe guys should be hitting us up.
You might be onto something. Some
career best trends going right now for these guys.
You know what I'm saying?
On that note, Shane kind of dominating in Utah. I mean, continuing, right? I guess he's won there the last 2 times he had come before this as well, right? Yeah.
Something that I don't know. I know he has spoken about to me a little bit. I don't know how much he's done publicly. He really does like the West Coast better than the East Coast dirts, the harder pack stuff. And he coming into the season, he was a little bit worried about ruddy tracks. He's like, hey,
the East Coast is way different. Yeah.
So I do feel like having 4 rounds there on that type of surface is playing in his favor.
Sure.
Man, he's looking strong.
He is. He seems mentally there too, and physically there. I mean, as far as the dirt goes, right? I think Sunday we saw a really, really dry, very West Coast track. Yes. Reminded me of a lot of the tracks I rode, even just growing up when tracks weren't prepped quite as well. And I always preferred that dirt a lot too. Last night, I didn't feel like it was quite as much, right? It was still pretty dry, but a lot more ruts. The corner before the triple, that flat turn had a lot of ruts, kind of a berm at the end, but it was more ruddy and maybe a little bit more similar to an East Coast. Yeah. Still not quite there. So I imagine that does work to his benefit.
I wonder if the daytime race had something to do with that too, being drier and
dude, it was like 90 degrees. Guys were getting smoked.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It seemed like worse than a test track, really.
It did. Yeah, no, it looked brutal and the track just deteriorated so fast, and it was that loose marbly dirt to begin with. It was wild to see, not to bounce around a whole lot, but like you're saying, that day it was a lot hotter, and I think we saw a lot of guys start to struggle with fitness. I was surprised to kind of see it again last night, and not to pick on him, but I don't think he would mind pointing out Kenny kind of had more of a fade than I would have ever anticipated from him in both races. On Sunday, he had that really big mistake with like 2 laps to go, and then just kind of cruised it in. And then last night he came out like a rocket ship Seemed like maybe he changed his race strategy to try to get out front early and get a cushion, and it wasn't enough to get him out front, and then he ran out of gas, is my perception.
Sure. As we mentioned, he has struggled at elevation in the past, and he has some health stuff that I don't know if it's a continuing dealing with or what, but with that, like, Eli just looks good. I know he didn't win last night, but Definitely. Eli looks good, man. He could turn it on when he wants to turn it on. And to me, it seems like he could almost win
the rest of them
in control. Like he's in control of it. And even last night, Cooper rode great. Don't not take anything away from Cooper. Yeah. He probably just won me a Chipotle dinner.
Cooper was straight up. I mean, I felt like, and I think the same thing you're talking about, it felt like Eli had this controlled speed in the bag. And I felt that way on Sunday as well. Hey man, I'm gonna pace you. I'm gonna be patient. I think both those guys went by him. Ken and Cooper went by him on Sunday early in the race. Yep. It didn't seem like he was that fazed by it. He just settled in behind him and then picked the speed up and attacked when it mattered once things were settled. I felt like he did that again last night. Cooper straight up beat him at the end of the race, though, because it felt like he was implementing the same strategy. And then late race, 2-3 laps from the end, went for that push and made a big mistake and lost the time. Yeah. And that's Cooper being fit enough, mentally strong enough to just be on point at the end of the race.
To be completely real, man, I truly believe Cooper might be the most mentally tough rider out there. I really like. That's just me kind of knowing the guy, but
sure.
More than I just feel like mentally that dude is a rock. I know he had a few down seasons, obviously, before last year. Yeah. But man, he is solid.
Yeah. You know who, and again, at the risk of, I'm not trying to bash anybody, it's just my acknowledgement and something to talk about. I felt like on the mentality side, I was a little bummed to see Chase Sexton's last 2 podium interviews. Solid rides both times. He felt like he was pretty defeated by the result. It wasn't the kind of guy that was like, hey man, I'm better than this. I'm going to push through this. The Sunday race was kind of a, the track was short and there were lappers, but I'm good. I'm better. And then last night it was weird. It was like I get emotions are running high, but he was still kind of let down and let that show.
Yeah.
If I'm Shane, I'm like, man, I got him right where I want him.
Yeah,
I wish Chase hadn't shown that. At least kept that in.
Yeah, he kind of showed a card in his hand, right?
Yeah.
Again, like friends with Shane. I'm obviously rooting for Shane to win the title, but I'm not hoping Chase just gives it to him.
Of course not.
Which I don't think he will. But like that was a huge chink in his chain, I think.
Yeah.
Especially last night. Like.
Yeah.
I understand being bummed, but you actually rode really well. You came
from awesome.
Last place, right? Mm-hmm. Like you're deep.
He made a mistake that was a pretty common mistake for last night's track.
Sure, yeah. Right? Yeah, multiple people made that mistake. Mm-hmm. And dude, you still have the red plate. Yeah, you're tied, but guess what? You guys got 2 rounds left, and it's a new season, really, right? Yeah. Like all you got to do is beat that dude, and you don't even have to win the race. You just got to beat Shane. That's it.
Yeah.
I say that's it. It's not that easy, but
and I mean, really, as we saw now, like has to beat Colt also.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, Shane's got one teammate out there, but that teammate is,
he does. But at the end of the day, all he has to do is be in front of Shane. Colt doesn't really matter unless he's between the 2.
Sure. Of course. Yeah. Right. I guess. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. But I mean, I was kind of excited as a spectator, again, without bias, because I like Chase as much as I know him. Which is little, but I like him more. I don't mean that I don't like him. Sorry. Yeah. That was a weird wording. I like Chase. Just don't know him that well. But anyhow, I think, Colt could definitely play a spoiler, and it was exciting to see someone get in there because like J Mart was there as well, but a little bit more of a distance. Yeah. At least the last 2 races. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and honestly, like I talked to Shane last night, but not about this. Like that has to give Shane some comfort too, knowing he's got a guy, right?
Exactly.
By no means did Colt let him by last night. Shane earned it, and he pulled away from Colt a little bit.
Colt reeled him back in toward the end. I don't know if he laid up the last lap. Yeah. Oh, sure. Oh, whoa. All right. Sorry.
No. Colt totally was right there.
Oh! I thought you were saying he definitely laid up.
No. I'm gonna say he probably did.
I think he did too, probably, yeah.
But having that comfort, knowing that my dude, can be in
Lost speed.
between me and Sexton, that's some confidence too.
Yeah, definitely. We've lost a few guys too. That part's been weird. I mean, we kind of foreshadowed that a couple weeks ago when we were talking to Kyle. That hey, there could very well be, as injuries come up, which just happens in our sport, we don't have new riders coming in to fill those spots.
Right.
So we've got Adam out.
Yep.
I guess I don't know who else. We've had a few guys
out. Brock got hurt.
There you go.
Yeah. And there's a few guys.
Josh Hill, but he was hurt right before, I think. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So, but that brings up a little bit of we got one more East Coast race. 250 East Coast, which is going to be here in a couple days on Sunday, and then it's 250 West for 2 weeks.
Yep.
And that's another fun title chase with Ferrandis, Cooper, and Faulkner all within 13 points. Justin Cooper 7 points down, and Faulkner 13 points down from Ferrandis. It's gonna be fun. Two title, probably going down to the last round in the shootout.
I feel like this dirt maybe favors Ferrandis out of the three of them, being that Faulkner and Cooper are both East Coast guys, just with where they grew up. I feel like this hard packed soil might fit Ferrandis, like what Ferrandis rode the most. All of them can adapt, but I don't know. What do you think? What do you think is going to go down there? I heard you were mentioning something to me earlier about Cooper maybe having had a get off. This week.
I saw a video last night of Justin Cooper having a pretty good get off at Star West. What is it called now? I
don't know, fairground or something. They change it every other week. Yeah.
So on their Supercross track, it was pretty ugly. But I heard that he was fine. But it looked brutal. But hopefully he's good. I'm sure he's banged up a little bit just from the video. It looked pretty bad. But hopefully he's good. He's got, like he said, I guess not a couple weeks, because it's only
a couple days, man. Yeah. 7 days until he goes racing, or 6 days, something like that. Yeah. Next Wednesday. So 6 days.
But yeah, it should be good. Exciting again to see these guys back on the track and see what these 90 some odd days have done for them. Yeah. Faulkner could come back and dominate like he has in the past. The time off obviously has done well for Shane. In that East Coast series. I'm excited to see what's going to happen on the West.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It's exciting. It's just kind of, it's weird. Guys are managing it really well. It'll be neat to have new guys thrown into the mix. This 450 championship, I feel like now that it's so spread out, man, I'm a little bit discouraged on it being as exciting.
Yeah.
The 250 stuff is really close East Coast now. Obviously, it might be maybe good for Sexton that they'll have that 10-day break while the West guys go racing. And as far as the West Championship, like obviously Faulkner is looking to fight hard and to come out swinging. So I know he'll be on his game. Ferrandis though is going to be tough, dude. Like it's hard for me to imagine him not being there.
Yeah, I'm with you with that. If I'm a betting man, I'll put my money or my Chipotle dinner on Ferrandis for the title.
Did you win a Chipotle dinner last night? Is that what we were agreeing on? I don't know. You've told you. You
don't know?
I don't remember well. I'm not like denying. I don't have obviously we have it recorded.
Yeah. I mean, I said that Cooper Webb would win.
But I thought I said that's a given.
Yeah. And then you threw out all these dudes.
Well, absolutely. And that's something that I really have a lot of pressure on my shoulders for. And I don't think anyone really appreciates or acknowledges. I have 5 races left and I need a different guy to win every weekend. And that's a big burden.
Guy,
it's a big burden.
Put out there.
My guy will be back. My guy will be back.
He'll be back, but he's already down 2 races, right? So
I didn't say anything about a championship.
No, I'm just saying though, right? He's not going to be 100% again.
He'll be 100% again at some point. We just matter of when.
Yeah, outdoors.
Are you calling an outdoor championship for the number 9?
Not at all.
Still think the number 9 has a chance at a win.
Again,
I have not given up on that.
He has a chance, 100%.
I'll put my $8 on it.
Put it on the board. It's already on the board.
But, yeah. But so you got one with
I
Cooper,
got one.
maybe. It's a debatable one.
It's debatable to you. Because you lost. But
what about Malcolm Stewart? You think Malcolm Stewart can win a race?
See, you're putting things out there. Can he win a race? He is capable of winning a race.
Oh, well, come on. Don't be so PC about it.
Will he win a race? No.
But I mean, I could win a race, but I'm not going to.
That's what I'm saying. He can win a race. He has the talent. I don't know if you could win a race. Let's be
that
honest.
Was the like, hey, Dad, can you pass me the ketchup? I can, but will I?
Stewie will not win a race this season.
Okay.
A main event. Let me put that. Let me clarify, being that he killed it last night.
He was solid. He was really solid. I think if he had not, he had a crash in the main, right? First turn. I think he crashed coming out of the first turn and came back to, I think, 7th, which has got to be frustrating because that's like his average finish anyways, you know,
For
but
sure.
He rode like a machine to get there.
Yeah. With that said, though, I was hoping to go into a higher note today with our guest, but he's coming back from injury, broken ankle. He's not been on the bike for very long, but he is trying to give it a go. And last night was a rough night, getting into the LCQ, going down in the LCQ, twisting his ankle, but rode awesome. Our guest is going to be Freddie Noren today. You got birds. Fast Freddy. We're going to welcome Freddie to the show. So we're going to welcome Freddie to the show. Freddie, you're sideways.
Sideways.
How are you?
What's up?
There he is.
What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Just woke up here in Salt Lake. Well, actually, I've been up a little bit because it's almost 10 o'clock. But just hanging out here in Salt Lake. Went racing yesterday, so a little bit of a chill day in a sense, trying to recoup, and just hanging out. What are you guys up to?
No racing. Yeah, we're just really still hanging out and trying not to get involved with any trouble out in like LA and some crazy stuff going on around the country.
You're not out there riding, you know?
Trying to hang low, man. Trying to hang low.
Flipping cars.
Not quite our style.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Freddie thing to do.
I don't know about that.
Did you not jump in the ones that were out there by the track, Freddie?
I decided to focus on my job and kind of stay away from it. So
fair enough.
But maybe one day we can flip a car, but maybe the car can be like on a field and we're allowed to flip it. That could be kind of fun. See how hard it is. But
maybe it's a celebration. Maybe it's a celebration after a win. We flip a car.
There
we go. There we go.
That's the deal. All right. So win, I'll fly out to Cali. We'll flip a car somewhere.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
That we're allowed to flip.
Yes, of course. It'll be one of our cars.
Yeah.
Or we're gonna have to buy you a new car.
Or we do a rental, but make sure we get the insurance.
Jeez, that sounds like something John has already done.
Yeah,
I've witnessed many times with like J-Law and like.
Well, how will that work with insurance still though? Like, how do you explain that? Like, hey, we flipped the car. The only problem is we flipped it like lifting it.
Here's a true story, right? Out at Minio's.
Can I pause real quick before you get into the story?
Okay.
Did you used to roll with J-Law? Because you just threw that out like that wasn't a thing that we should acknowledge. Like, were you guys boys or what?
Jason.
Okay.
We didn't hang out a lot, but I mean, there was times that, I mean, I was in the media. He was one of the dudes. So obviously, like.
Of course, he's the one you would gravitate to. I can see it. I mean, that's
like
you, man.
Partied or anything.
Sure. Yeah. You caught him that one time he wasn't. Okay.
Jason, honestly, is an awesome dude. Like, he's a nice guy. Little wild. Some bad choices, but we can't hold him to any standards, right? Like.
I agree. I don't hold him to any standard. I agree with you on that. Let's hear it. What was your experience?
So Minio's, it might have been his rookie year or his championship year, something. And he was at Minio's for some reason, just come hang out. It was him and Josh Hill. And They started rallying stinking rental cars back in the back lot, rolled that sucker, and just left it. And he says, I bought the insurance. I'll call them. They got to come pick it up. It's their problem.
Oh, boy. So do you know how actually the story ended, or?
I don't know how. That's a problem. Like, so I'm not that close with the dude because I don't know how things ended.
I assume they got it. I've heard a story of someone that was late for the airport that couldn't make it on time, like to the rental car drop off and to the airport. So they just drove to the airport and parked it and then went to their gate. And when they got to their gate, they called the rental car place and said, hey, I dropped the car off. It's at the airport in this spot. And the rental car place is like, you can't do that. And he said, it's already done. The car is there, though. I left the keys in the glove box. And he said he never heard about it again.
It's on the curb, man.
He said it worked out. It's like, I mean, at the end of the day, they want the car.
That's
True that.
crazy.
Yeah,
just got to wing it a little bit. Hope for the best.
Maybe it's not best to advise. I don't know. Yeah.
Hey, moral of the story: always get the insurance on the rental cars, no matter.
Always have insurance.
Yeah.
No matter what.
It can get real pricey.
It can be, but I've got some personal stories about rental cars too that we don't have to go into. Moral of the story: whether you think you're going to do something dumb or you don't, get the insurance. It's worth it.
I lost it in a rental car out at a camp one time with JMO and a couple of the other trainers in there. I was trying to be a hot shot drifting around and I put it into an embankment.
Yeah,
there we go.
I remember that.
Yeah, it wasn't good. Yeah.
So did insurance cover it?
Yeah, it was fine. Didn't turn out. I didn't really damage it much. I think I just like scratched the bumper. It wasn't a huge problem. I was going fast, so it really scared us.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't like speeding. I was just going a decent speed when it happened. But yeah, it wasn't good. It was on that gravel road on the way into Glen Helen, right by the police station.
There we go.
Yeah. But
actually, I could see damaging a rental car could be pretty easy, especially like outdoors. I remember Millville last year. We were parked in this soggy grass lane. Everyone was though, and you had to get in and out through this small little, I don't know, like cow path, pretty much. People were just sending it because you had to come in with so much momentum. It was kind of wild, actually.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Oh well. Get the insurance.
Enough about rental cars, though, huh?
All right.
Hey, so Freddie, your pad. You got a nice place behind you. Everyone's out there in Airbnbs. Is that the situation you got going on?
Yeah, I mean, with this Supercross thing, you were kind of limited to a few hotels and Airbnbs pretty much, and you have to let them know like where you're staying. So Jeremy,
you have to let like Feld or the AMA know where you're going to be.
Yeah, like they'll have our address where we're at. So Jeremy, my team manager at JGR, he just booked a big Airbnb for all of us, which is super nice because I'd rather be in here, have a kitchen. Like hotels are kind of like, I like hotels, but I don't know if I would like it for 3.5 weeks. So
yeah, hotel's cool for a weekend, but for a month, I don't know.
Yeah, so he got a super nice Airbnb up here in Park City, super cool house, and it's been awesome. It's been fun. So I think a lot of the guys actually are doing Airbnbs. But no, it's an amazing view. If I could just turn the camera and you guys could actually see, I think you guys would be a little bit jealous. But
is the whole crew there with you?
Pretty much. There's a few guys that are not here from the team, but most of the guys are. And then Amy and Jolie, my wife and baby, will fly in tomorrow.
Cool.
And stay for the rest of the time as well. At first, we didn't know if they should come out or not, but 3.5 weeks is a real long time. So we're like, hey, let's get a flight. We had credits, so just get a flight and come out here and hang out for a little bit. Yeah. So
how has it been? Sorry to jump over you, John. How I'm curious, how has it been like living with the team? Because I mean, like in my experience, teams, it feels like you're a family already. You know, when you're ingrained with the team and you've been with the team for a while, you feel like family. But it is different to take that next step of like 24/7 being together. You know, having to share the bathroom.
Yeah. This house is actually really big. Where like I have my own room, my own bathroom, and I think actually most of them most of the rooms have their own bathrooms and stuff.
Okay.
So it's been super cool. And like today, for example, like I don't need to go out to the track, so I'm at the house, and then the rest of the guys went out to the track pretty much. So I'm pretty much alone at the house today. And there's like mountain bike trails and hiking trails, and there's lots of stuff to do. So like it's actually kind of, we're really tight and like we're hanging out a lot, but there's still like some separation. Like some guys will go do some golfing.
Yeah.
Some will go hike, some will chill. So there's still not like we're like this 24/7. Like there is a little bit of separation. So but it's been fun. I mean, I've never hung out with a team or a group of guys necessarily in the industry like this before, but it's pretty fun for sure. So get to bond a little bit better too with a team, because I've only been with them since really outdoors last year when I filled in for them. So it hasn't even been a year yet, but it's pretty neat.
Yeah, and you're the only rider as of right now in the house, with Brock getting hurt again and Alex riding the West, right? Yeah.
So Brock's actually had like a little a different little Airbnb for a couple of days, but I think he's going to come into the house here pretty soon.
Gotcha.
And then Amar, he will not stay in his house, I don't think either. He has a different Airbnb, but we're all in Park City. So like we're still super, super close, but yeah, like yesterday I was the only guy at the race or racing, which is kind of weird. It's kind of cool too. I got this big old team and personnel, and I'm the only one racing. But I think with Brock, he is aiming to race on Sunday. So hopefully that can happen. Because he did break a bone in the hand. I'm not fully sure what bone, but it's getting better each and every day. So that's a good thing.
What's the atmosphere like around the track, and is it as gnarly as you thought going in, or is it pretty relaxed as far as the COVID stuff and the rules being implemented?
Yeah, I'd say it's actually been not too bad. There's actually a lot of things that are really nice that like hopefully they will do this in the future. Like there's some stuff like we don't get like a track walk.
Yeah. Like
we get like a 2-lap sight lap. We get to like see the track from the stands, but I actually really like that because I'm not much into doing the track walk because then everything looks like super big and it kind of like jacks with me a little bit. So I kind of like that. So there's some stuff that are pretty nice, but then obviously some stuff are kind of weird too, walking around with a mask everywhere and not getting to hang out with people and all of that stuff. But I mean, they've done a super good job. I would way rather have all these rules and race rather than not race, to put it that way. So it's been really good. They've done a really good job, and it seems like Feld and those guys, AMA, they've been, and all the teams have kind of been communicating a lot too to make it the best possible. So it's actually been a lot better than I thought it would be.
Yeah. With the sight laps, they haven't like streamed them or televised them, so I've been watching it all on NBC Gold, but like I haven't been able to see that part. Is it like mandatory wheels on the ground? Like you have to roll all the jumps, or is it the same as normal?
No. So like before free practice, you get 2 laps, which is wheels on the ground. Like you have to do wheels on the ground. Yeah. So it's kind of nice. Like, and I think I haven't stopped, but I think you're allowed to kind of stop a little bit too.
Yeah.
But to me, it's it puts the track in a place where, or like you see the track the way you're going to ride it.
Yeah.
Where whenever you do track walk, you have 1 million people on the track. You can't see sections, and like some sections are still muddy or whatever. So I really enjoy doing the little sight lap things. So
I feel like that might
super good.
I feel like that might even be like ultimately it seems like track walk would be a good idea as well, but it seems like that might be a safer kind of addition to, because I think back of like when I was racing, I remember like I think it was 2016 or 17 Anaheim 2, like one of the triples was shorter than it looked, right? It was like an abnormally short triple. And so I remember walking the track and like looking at it, at least I didn't really think twice about triples, like the actual Supercross triple when walking the track. You just walk past it. And I remember first lap of practice, everyone's expected to jump everything the first lap.
Pretty much.
I came around first lap and hit it like way too fast and went, 15 feet past the landing and almost killed myself. And I felt like an idiot, but it was like, man, every jump has to be done. All of the normal seeming jumps have to be done right away. And sometimes guys go down super hard on the first lap, which seems silly, but is a part of that. So I think those sight laps could be really helpful to keep.
Yeah, I think it's actually super nice because think like jumps and corners and everything just are different when you have a helmet and goggles on for some reason. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
And you can kind of like feel in the bike, like the power, even though you don't jump it on sight lap, you can kind of like actually gauge it a little bit more. So I've really actually enjoyed that. I think that's been super good. So I kind of hope they implement that in the future too. And then in a sense, you don't waste the time of doing track walk. You can maybe make the schedule a little bit more flexible in a sense, or do something else with the time. So I think it's been good, but we'll see. I guess what will happen in the future. We're all learning. No one knows what's going on.
With that, I'm assuming Jake hasn't been doing chapels after, because you don't have track walk. Has Jake been doing chapel, or has that not been going on?
Yeah, so that's been a little bit different too. So with riders meeting, we get the night before, the day before the event, they send us a YouTube link on email, and then they have the riders meeting on there, any type of changes or whatever they're needed to do, and then at the end, Jake has his chapel. So
gotcha.
It's still
wild.
he's still doing the chapel, which is good.
Yeah,
and then he's at the track, though we're technically not allowed to necessarily see him because we're only supposed to be in our group, and even in our group, it's supposed to be like 10 or 6 feet. So, but he's still at the track and all of that. So that's been good.
I asked because that's kind of like, I'm sorry. I asked because after track walk, you have the riders meeting and then chapel. And to me, that's a special time for a lot of you guys. And if they get rid of track walk, that's going to change a lot in that time of chapel and play a different role in that. So I'm talking for like next year if they did implement that.
It really might be better. Sorry to jump you over, Chetty. It might be even better though in this sense to do it in a slightly different way, because I remember being like my first race being in like whatever that slower practice group is, and that group goes pretty quick for the 250s. Goes pretty quick after track walk. Yep. So a lot of guys in that section or session have to skip chapel to run back and get geared up, or you have to gear up before you go for track walk, which is just a nightmare. So I mean, it might be a good alternative.
Also, when you do track walk, you have all your buddies and you talk to a lot of people. So sometimes it happens that, we're going to chapel and people are still like kind of wanting to talk or whatever. Yeah. So in a sense, like this is making you maybe focus more on the chapel. Yeah. But I do like having chapel like in person. Like I like being there. So maybe they could do so. I mean, I don't know, but maybe they could do something where there's still a chapel, but you go to chapel, or like maybe he can have something like come and see us here, like at the track.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But or something while you're in the stands, maybe even. I mean, because you're allowed to go out in the bleachers and look at the track before. Maybe there's a slotted time, in the morning.
Yeah.
Go sit in the stands, and he's able to do it from the podium.
Yeah. Something
gnarly broadcast, but
yeah. I'm just curious. Cool, though. Just curious, as I know that's an important part to a lot of people's program, and obviously we support what Jake's doing and all the work there. And I think it's better to be together rather than a YouTube video or what pre-recorded, right? Because now we have a little bit more fellowship and a little bit of us time that we could hang out and dig into the word a little bit. And I think that's super valid and super important that we do as believers and family and just the community of the sport that we enjoy and you guys do. So
also like one thing I missed with doing the YouTube chapel is because Jake always does the like little chapel cards after.
Yeah.
And I think those are awesome. And I'll put them up like on where like the track map or whatever I have in my rigs. I'll put it up there and you can kind of look at the chapel card each day and kind of put in perspective like, okay, we're here to race, but we do it for him. So it's cool to have those reminders. So hopefully we can still have those. Maybe I need to talk to Jake and see like, hey, can we still get a chapel card?
Have them email them out. Like have them put them.
You could print it yourself.
Right there and incorporate it into that email.
That'd be cool.
That's a good idea. I'm gonna set a reminder for that. I'm gonna text him as soon as we get done with the call for sure.
Yeah.
Freddie, I'm curious on the racing side, right? Like you talked about right there. Like is racing actual racing part? Does it feel really different? The week before we started, we were talking with Kyle Peters, and he and I were talking about how it seemed like racing would feel kind of similar to a press day, in that especially on Sunday, you guys had it in the daytime. There's no one around. It's just the riders. Does it feel that way on the track? Is it kind of weird to get used to, or no, not at all?
I mean, it's definitely a little different for sure. Like last night wasn't too bad because we raced pretty late actually. Like it was a night race. So it felt a lot more normal last night because for me, at least, once you do the gate drop, I mean, you could be 1 million people there and I wouldn't even pay attention to it. So, but Sunday definitely kind of, Sunday definitely kind of felt a little weird because I was sitting on the line for my heat race and I was like, are we going out for like the time qualifying or like, that's kind of how it felt like. Cause it's, you know, in the middle of the day, no one there, like there's no music, no fireworks, no nothing. So that was a little weird, but it's at the end of the day, once the gate drop goes, it's not, I don't pay attention to it, but
we were talking with Kyle last week, and just that mindset that like before we have opening ceremonies and it's like, okay, now I could get my mindset going right now. Obviously again, you're it's throughout the day, but that is my time to like really, really lock in and harness that. And so this whole new thing, I got to set a different time and a different way. Some people get super amped on the fireworks, music, all that kind of stuff. Like for me, I think like that would be a time that I'm like totally honed in, time to go. That would be a weird transition for me personally to have to change that part of my program, getting ready for the gate to drop.
Yeah, I mean, the night or whenever they did the opening ceremonies, definitely get you kind of amped up some more.
Yeah.
But I get so amped up anyways that it's kind of nice to keep it a little more chill, at least for me, because I'm like, it's funny actually on Sunday, the first race, the first session, even just the first session, like practice session, I was running my heart rate monitor and I was sitting on the gate and I'm like at 130, I'm like, I'm not even doing anything. I'm like, I need to chill out. Like, I'm not even riding yet. So yesterday, I just decided to skip my heart rate monitor, not even look at it. So, but no, I guess it's dependent on the rider too.
For sure.
I feel like that aspect of it, I might prefer not to have to deal with. I mean, I was one that I always got super fired up before the race and like super aggro no matter what. And once I was in, like you said, kind of the gate drop definitely, but once I was in staging, I kind of locked in and was good. But the tunnel experience was always like, even just when John was describing it, I started to get a little bit of a pit in my stomach. I never got over that. And I didn't do a whole lot of races, but like I never got comfortable. I was always so nervous and just intimidated by like the fact that I'm about to go out and do this. I feel like getting rid of that little bit of anxiety might help me.
Would help you?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I guess depends on the rider. I mean, someone might love it, someone might hate it. So it's personal, I guess, but
for sure. Talking a little more about racing. I know you're just coming back from injury, really, and this break has given you an opportunity to go race Supercross again. And you had another little bobble and twisted your ankle a little bit, but overall, how are you feeling from surgery and coming back racing?
Yeah, I had a St. Louis second round. I actually broke my ankle pretty bad, and I had surgery. They put 2 plates, 12 screws, just in my tibia by the ankle. So it was pretty bad. And but the rehab and everything has gone really well. Actually, it's it's a huge blessing because I went in. Well, when I did the surgery or about to do the surgery, the doctor said like, "Hey, you're probably not gonna even ride like corner track until like May 21st, like later in May." And I'm like, well, I can't have that happen. Like that's, I need to at least try to be there for outdoors because at that point, outdoors was still gonna happen at that time. So, but I'm like, all right, well, we'll see. We'll do the surgery and see what will happen, I guess. But at 10 and a half weeks, I went in for my 12-week follow-up, and I went in early, obviously, but I brought a boot with me, like a dirt bike boot, because I was going to try to convince him that, like, hey, this is what we use. Yeah. Like, see this thing, it's pretty protective. Could you still could I corner track or do whatever? And the funny thing is, like, I go in there, I sit down, and he starts talking, and before I even have a chance, or like I did x-rays and stuff, and before I even had a chance to like try to convince him, he's like, yeah, it's looking really good. Like it's healing really well. I think you can start riding it lightly. I'm like, oh, okay. And he's like, what is that? What's that boot? I'm like, this is what we ride with.
Try to convince you.
Yeah, I was gonna try to show it to you and like be like, hey, let me ride, but I didn't need to. He's like, is that like some type of space boot or something? No, but so that was obviously pretty awesome because that was April 7th. So that was over a month and a half before what he had initially had said.
Yeah.
So April 7th, I started doing some corner tracks, starts, and kind of just riding lightly. And it was feeling really good a lot, like super or pretty fast. So I started jumping a little bit on the outdoor track, and then just bigger and bigger jumps. And then it felt really good. He said actually whenever he released me that don't do any jumping for a month. So that would have been May 7th. So I did do some jumping before that safely though.
Safely,
but then
I like it.
So it was feeling really well. Obviously, like my range of motion is not fully there. It's still kind of like one of those things that it will take quite a while for it to be feeling like normal.
Yeah.
But then, with the Corona stuff happening and they're pushing Supercross, pushing outdoors, it kind of, I wasn't going to be able to ride any more Supercross, and it would have been tight to even get into outdoors. So with this now, it's awesome to get to ride some Supercross again and actually get 7 rounds in. Though I've only ridden, like actually yesterday was my 6th time on the Supercross track since my injury. So I haven't really been able to prepare a whole lot, but at least I'm here, I'm racing, I'm learning. So that's good. I'm happy to be out there riding. Obviously I wish I could have had some more time, but it could always be better, I guess. Yeah. So, I mean, I get to race. That's good. Though it's not supposed to race. And then with outdoor starting later, I should be able to feel better for that. So as crazy as it sounds, it's kind of been good for me as far as my career that the Corona stuff happened. Like it's obviously unfortunate and sucks that it happened and people are dying from it. But on a career standpoint, it's been good.
I think it's a silver lining that's like worth noting though. And it seems like it's affected a few guys. I think Zacho was talking about that last night on the podium as well. Like that he wouldn't have been back, for quite a while, may have missed the rest of Supercross, or at least wouldn't have been as prepared. So like it is a really thin silver lining, but it's a silver lining, especially for us as fans, to have a more stacked field, to be able to see you out there and see Zach.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's given a lot more people the opportunity to ride more and get more ready for it.
Yeah.
So that's been good.
Have you been like right now during the week, being that you're so fresh back from that injury, are you able to ride and get more comfortable, or right now are you resting and letting it heal, especially after Sunday, tweaking it?
Yeah. So I was feeling pretty good coming into Sunday, but then of course I have to tweak my bad ankle in the heat race. So as the night was going on, like it started feeling worse and worse, or day, I should say. It was a day race, but it was getting worse and worse. So like I got to the main, I'm like, dude, this could suck.
Yeah.
But So I tried, but then like I rode really horrible, and I was kind of like not riding very safe too. So I'm like, this is not worth it. Like I'm gonna crash or run into someone or something. So I pulled off, and I went to the medical unit and they x-rayed it. I just wanted to make sure like I didn't do anything, like re-break anything. But they said like your bone looked fine. So it's really just a sprain. So that's a good thing. But then I've been working on it. I've been going to like a doctor out here, and he's been working on it a lot coming into Wednesday, though we only had 2 days really. But so it got a lot better. But it wasn't fully like, it wasn't 100% really to say coming yesterday. So I'm hoping for Sunday, the next event, that I can feel closer to 100 and actually be able to push it some more. Because now you do ride a little timid knowing that you have like some pain, but yeah, it'll be all right.
How about yesterday? You guys went racing last night. Were you feeling those effects yesterday as well with your ankle?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely kind of been hurting. And I just had to kind of try to do the best I can with it, I guess. Yeah. But it's not like it didn't get worse racing yesterday, but like feeling it today, it's like I'm on Tuesday again. So it didn't get better necessarily. So now we have another extra day to heal my ankle in a sense. So I'm going to continue going to this doctor and try to work on it as much as I can. That way for Sunday, it should hopefully be a lot better. But it wasn't like, it definitely, I think it's just the intensity that gets brought down, like when you have a little nagging thing like that. But I mean, a lot of people sometimes have to ride through things. So just got to do the best I can with it at this point, and then just ride more. That's like the biggest thing for me right now, because I haven't really ridden anything. So just need to start riding a lot more, putting more laps in, and get some more experience. And then hopefully these last 5 rounds, I can start riding a little better and pick up some more speed. So
with that, does the team have a place for you guys to be riding during the couple days off, or what's that look like for you guys?
We have not been practicing, but there are some places out here, I guess, that we could go to. So I'm not sure next week when the A-Mart is coming, we're talking about maybe going somewhere, because I think he would probably want to kind of try his 250 out, because we are, 4,000 something feet up here. So the bikes are definitely not the way they normally feel. So we might go do some practicing next week, but we'll see. For me, it would be not necessarily for me, it would be more a test session, I would say, just to try to figure out some more things, get more comfortable. But, and I guess that would be the same for A-Mart if he comes to ride. But you ride 2 days a week. I don't know if most people probably ride 3 days a week. I don't know if most people ride 4, but it's not like you're missing out on a lot of riding in a sense. It would maybe be nice every so often to get a practice session in as well and get 3 days in. But I don't know if it's super important in a sense, because you are going to go race, and racing is really the best practice. So, but I don't know. Yeah.
Racing is the best practice when you've had practice.
True that. When you come in prepared.
6 days on the Supercross track, a couple extra laps might help.
You're probably right. But there's been some good stuff though. Like I've had some pretty good starts and stuff like that. So there's been a lot of good to take away from it. But
for sure.
Yeah.
Last night was just a stupid thing. So bad.
Last night was, I know it doesn't help you any to hear it, but from my perspective, last night I thought like LCQ ride was a really awesome ride after a mistake that
going down.
You have to be accountable for, but a lot of people made, right? We saw a lot of guys do that same thing in that corner. It was just a kind of a tricky entry.
It was. Yeah.
Sorry. I know. I don't mean to relive it or to
no.
It's good. Past, but watching, you rode really solid and still put in like a really good effort afterward. Whereas someone in your position dealing with an injury and a crash early in the LCQ, it's easy to be like, oh, tonight's done.
I'm not that I'm not wired that way. God didn't wire me that way. I was so mad. It was like, if there was any chance at all to get in top 4, I'm going to go for it. Yeah. I'm not going to go wreck my brains out trying to do it, but I was really fired up for sure. And especially because like the class is super stacked. Obviously I didn't make it through the heat race. My start wasn't great actually in the heat race, but, so like I put myself in a good spot in the LCQ, and it would have really been just ride, and I would have made a main. And I decided to, I don't know, crash right away. Stupid, because I was in 4th at the time, and I should have made it up further. So, but oh well, just gotta learn from your mistakes, I guess, and keep on keeping. And I mean, I feel bad because the whole team are out there, and I'm scrambling in the LCQ, not making it. I think that's kind of almost the worst part, knowing that, you know, you kind of have that accountability of all these guys putting a lot in a lot of work, and not saying I'm not putting in a lot of work, but kind of throwing it away. Yeah, that's such a simple thing, like washing out in the corner.
I feel like that's one of the worst feelings in the world. Like I remember when I went to school, you know, like 2 years ago, I went away to school and talking to people that are like struggling with classes or like failing classes or have like this really bad exam. And then me thinking back of like trying to equate my experience of what that feels like. And it's like, man, it seems worse than one race loss to them, like a bad race. And I remember my first year of Supercross, at one point, my teammate being hurt, and we were on a 2-man satellite team. So it was then just me every weekend at the race. And it was like, man, I remember A2 one year crashing in the LCQ on the start and not making the main, and being the only guy on the team and not making the main, and then going back to the truck after. And it's like, I'm young, but like that might have been the worst experience I've ever had. Because
I mean,
you guys worked your tail off. Like we all know I should have been in. I've been in, but like I wasn't. And now we just like, what do we do? Do we go home? Like, do we watch? I don't know what to do now.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely kind of a horrible. I don't know if horrible is the right feeling, but it's a really crappy feeling, that's for sure. Because, like, yeah, it's a one-man sport in a sense, but you have all these people and spending all this money, all this time, and then you don't make it. And you know you should have been in there, and like you know you're capable of doing that. And like me being on the factory team too, I'm like, I'm on the factory team, like I shouldn't even be in the LCQ to begin with. But I guess I definitely wasn't very happy. I did some screaming and yelling when I fell down, probably as I'm falling down, because I knew it was happening. I'm like, crap. And I came back in and kind of did my little pouting and being mad. But then at the end of the day, you know, you can't change it. All you can really do is, all right, what did we do good? What can we change? What can we do better? And we'll go from there. And then next weekend, we don't let this happen ever again. So, I mean, it's as simple as that, I guess.
Yep.
I don't remember who it was, but it was like Trey or Zach, maybe Shane, one of those guys there. But for whatever reason, we're having a conversation, and they're like, man, if I could never do one thing while racing, is go to an LCQ. They're like, there's more pressure being in the LCQ, not from the team, but like being on a team, knowing how hard they work. Like that's way more pressure than lining up in the main, being expected to win. Like they're like, if I could change one thing, I will never ride in an LCQ ever again, especially on like a factory team.
Yeah, it's a crap. It's a horrible feeling.
Yeah,
you're
it's
like,
terrible.
You're going down there. You're like, shoot. It's like, well, everyone's kind of sending it, and then you have like 5 laps, and it shouldn't necessarily be a problem. You get a start, you ride the way you should do, and there shouldn't be a problem. But you still have it knowing, like, if I don't make it, I don't make it.
Yeah.
Like we go home and watch everyone else go ride. It's like crap. But
it's like I've been in more LCQs than I care to, right? I've been quite a few. And it's horrible. I remember my first Supercross race, I went to the LCQ, and I had never, like, for whatever reason, as long as I've been in the sport, I didn't know how many guys made it. and it didn't register to like ask someone for that information. I just assumed only 2 guys went. And so on the last lap, I was in 4th. Like I had a bad start, almost went down, like all sorts of sketchiness. And I came around the last like half a lap, like cruising it in at that point. Cause second was, I think, Jeremy Martin. Like it was like a weird, some guys had crashed. And I was like, dude, it's over. Like I just showed up to Supercross and I didn't, like my first time, I didn't do it. Like I can't believe it. And I jumped the finish and like had my head down, was all bummed. And then mechanic like fist pumped and was like, yeah. And I was like, dude, what? It's like, what are you doing? And he's like, we made it. And I was like, oh, okay. Like what? And I figured it out. And I was like, hey guy, maybe don't like, thank you, but let's not fist pump either way. Like let's still,
we're in the LCQ, man.
Let's still pump the brakes. Like, we got 4th in the LCQ. We got last gate pick. Like it's definitely better, but let's not be that excited.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's nice to try to stay away from it.
Like
Sunday, the first race back, obviously I was in the LCQ that time as well, which I should have went on from the heat race. I did stall the bike in a corner. I was like 7th, so I should have made it from there. But it is what it is. You know, you can't take back. And you know, at the end of the day, you gotta submit to the Lord, and He will make your path straight. So that's all you can do. Focus on Him and do your best. And you know, it's it'll be all right.
Yeah, definitely. And it seems like, I mean, to move on from this, like it does seem like, I mean, looking at it and analyzing it, the mistakes that you've had that have kept you from having, you know, more success in the last 2 races seem like they're perfectly indicative of someone that hasn't had a lot of time on the bike, right? A little tip over, a stalling of the bike, but your rides have been really strong and your rides have been moving forward from where you were. So that's definitely a positive to take forward into this weekend. You know, the more comfortable you get, the better it'll be, and iron out those little mistakes and you'll be back where you should. Yeah,
no, definitely. I mean, you got to look at the end of the day, you got to look at the positives from it. So that's all to do. But,
definitely.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Zach, you finished school.
I did.
Let's talk about some other stuff.
Yeah.
Some non-dirt bike stuff. So how's that been?
It's a tough time to graduate from school.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah. I graduated about a week and a half ago now. But nothing's changed. I've been like sending my resume out to places and talking to people and trying to get interviews, but there's not a lot going on in the job market these days with the quarantine and then with riots and stuff.
I guess it's kind of a bad time in a sense, but I mean, you graduated, so you that's a good thing. Whenever this starts settling down, you're set. So
definitely,
congrats, by the way.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. It's cool. It's something I never would have seen coming from all the years I spent racing and, you know, looking to racing as my future. But once I got over this hurdle, I really realized like this feels like the biggest accomplishment I've ever had to get
it's
through
awesome.
4 years. And as hard as it was, the last 2 years I spent in New York City doing it, and it's a huge accomplishment. But now I'm back here. I want to clarify. I think I've clarified before. This is not like a shrine that I have built, right? This is an office space at my parents' house where I'm staying on an air mattress. So I actually have to sleep. I have to sleep with that in my.
You love it. You love
it. It's cool though. I mean, I think your background's awesome.
We call it it used to be in the garage, all the helmets. It's called the wall of shame instead of the wall of shame. Trophies were like a new addition, but it's all
trophies. Yeah. The helmets are like crash helmets,
if you look, there's like 4 trophies total, and there's like 17 helmets, but they're all crash helmets.
There we go.
Helmets that I've broken or been concussed in. So it's a good thing to hold on to.
That's a good reminder too. Okay,
helps
let's
me
not go back to
school.
that. Yeah, exactly. Like this is why I went to school.
Yeah,
funny.
Oh, it's cool though. It's cool to have a display.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, racing was a big part of your life, so it's cool to have some remembrance of it and a little memorabilia in a sense. Yeah, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's fun, and it helped so much shape like who I am as a person, and you know all the life lessons I learned and the community that I've gained. I mean, like both of you guys, people that I'm able to keep in my life going forward is huge. So definitely not trying to move on from moto.
So, are you still riding anything?
I haven't ridden in probably a year and a half, close to 2 years maybe. I was a trainer out at one of the PanicREV camps at Glen Helen. John, when would that have been? Last January?
It would have been actually
this January. Camp? Yeah, when was that? Was that recent?
That was in January, yeah.
Okay, so in January, so 6 months ago, I got on a bike and we did a takeout battle in an oval.
There we go.
Yeah, and I think I won.
You won.
Yeah,
Zach won.
Sweet.
But before that, it had been about a year.
Out.
What's that?
Zach's always good taking people out.
Oh yeah. That was my MO. Yeah. But about a year before that, I did like 2 laps in my sneakers out at Glen Helen. I just put them out, which was kind of dumb.
And he went way too fast for riding in his shoes.
I went pretty quick. Yeah.
Well, you actually like went on the track with sneakers?
I was in like clothes like this, like with sneakers on, and then someone was like, "Oh, did you want to try my 252 stroke?" And I said, "Sure." And I said, "I need a helmet and goggles and gloves." And so I put that on, and then went and did like a half a lap slow with one of the Peyton boys, one of Mitch's sons, and like rode around with him. And then I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna see if I can like ride." And so then I did a lap at like mid speed, and then our friend Dylan Copeland, who's like a pretty solid rider, came by, and he and I battled for 2 laps. Yeah.
Man, I don't even like riding with sneakers on the pavement.
Yeah.
We
do not condone these things.
John
John
did not look
so
happy.
we clarify. Like that is not something we're pumped on.
John didn't look stoked. It wasn't smart for sure. Yeah. I was sizing up. There was at Glen Helen, then there was this you went around that like back like mini Talladega turn in the back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then after that it was like a kind of a slant left, and then a roller, and then another roller a little ways after. And everyone at camp had just been hitting it as 2 rollers. But in my head, I was like, man, this feels like it's just a big double. Like, I think pro guys double this. I haven't been to a track, but I think they double this. And so then I came up and, like, checked it out and, like, kind of hopped it. And then I looped back around and was coming up to it with speed. And then it registered in my head, like, you're an idiot. This is why you stop racing. Don't do this. Like, this is the stupidest thing ever. And then I went back to the truck.
Yeah. Do you think you would have had it?
The thing is, I think I would have made it, but if I had mistimed it a little, the sneakers would have blown out and I would have been on the ground so hard.
Yeah.
Like, that was what I realized coming up. Yeah. It was like the smallest mistake. And I hadn't ridden in so long that, like, you know, that awkward feeling you get right when you come back.
Oh, yeah. You're like, I feel like you're so stiff.
I could have cased it and then looped out off the back or something. Who knows?
It's funny how the mind or the brain triggers you like, okay, I got this. But then you're like, well, okay, why am I doing it? What's the purpose here? What am I trying to prove here?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Right on. Hey, we're going to take a break. We're going to get into our time in the Word for our devotional dig. Freddie, you shared with us your favorite Bible verse right now. Would you mind digging into that with us and sharing that with us?
Yeah, let's do it. Actually, I got to point something else something out. So Shane winning last night, seeing a post he posts this scripture.
Yes.
I'm like, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
But
and in light of that, I actually, because of you and Shane, I posted that verse this morning as our daily verse. So
awesome.
It just got me fired up. Yeah,
I saw him post it. I'm like, cool. That's exactly the one I picked. Like, so right now, that's my favorite verse.
Yeah.
So
it's good.
All right. So the one for me right now is Philippians 4, 6, and 7. Because you need to do both of them.
Yeah,
so it says,
absolutely.
Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your request to God. Verse 7, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. It's, to me, just with everything going on, really, and with the COVID and injuries and uncertainties in general, it really puts in perspective that, you know, we're followers of believers of the creator of everything. So like what's there to necessarily be worrying about or be anxious about? So it's an awesome verse for me to kind of keep in mind that just chill out, like do the best you can, but like I got you, you know? So especially from like yesterday, not doing so well, this is a good verse for me to not be anxious about the future and just, you know, keep on keeping, and God will keep it straight. So
I think in our society today, anxiety and being anxious about anything and everything is just normal, right? Like, but these verses we read tells us it's not normal. Like, don't be anxious. If you are anxious, lay those anxieties at the Lord's feet and let him take care of them, and he'll guard our hearts. He will give us everything that we need if we truly trust him. I think we fail at that on a daily basis, really, right? Like, there's so many times where in my life, it's like I start stressing over things and I start thinking about more, where if I just start thinking about Jesus and start praying and giving God these anxieties that I have and stresses that I have, these verses right here tell me that they'll pretty much go away, right? Like, God will take care of those things. And when we are truthfully mindful of these verses, at least in my life, it totally comes true, right? When I stop stressing and I start giving these things over to God, whatever situation it is, like, there is a sense of peace. That doesn't mean that things get easy, but there's peace within these prayers and while giving these anxieties over to God. And there's no like describing it other than try it out, really. Like, that's the only way I could tell people that haven't experienced this peace that God gives us when we do give him our anxieties. Just try it. Believe and pray and give these things truly over to the Lord.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like you say, like, yeah, probably every day I try to take control of things that I can't control. So it's kind of like, that's where anxiety comes from, I would say. Probably like you want to control something that's really not in your control. So I think this verse is awesome. We're actually, Amy and I, we have like a little message board at the house in North Carolina. So we put, to try to remember and memorize this verse, we did the first letter of each word. And then you can look at it every day. So just to kind of try to keep it present in the mind at all times. Though when something goes a little slightly wrong from my plan, the verse kind of goes whoop, and then I need to bring it back. But I mean, definitely.
That's something, I mean, to be like frank about it, it's something I definitely struggle with, and I've like sought counsel from John about before too, is like when something is going awry. I'm the kind of guy that's like, okay, I got to put my head down. I got to get through this. And it's like, dude, have you prayed about it? And I'm like, well, sure. Like, I'll pray also, but like, dude, I have to I have to do it first. Like, I have to do it, you know, like the world is collapsing. I have to lift it up and then I'll pray. Yeah, definitely. And John's like, no, like, you got to chill. You have to pray, put it in God's hands. Don't stop working at any point in that, but make sure you give it over to him. Man. Yeah, definitely. It's tough.
No, kind of like you were saying, like, start with, like, a lot of times I would say I agree with you the way, like, we do it backwards. Like, okay, what can I do to control it? And then, all right, then I'll pray. Where it should be like, hey, pray first and then like try to do whatever you can, I guess. But yeah, I totally agree on that. Most of the times the initial thing is like, what can I do to fix this? And
it's
then
funny.
Be like, God, fix it for me, rather than be like,
exactly.
God,
it's funny because usually it's like, hey, now that my hard work didn't work, God, help me out now. Oh, wow, it worked. Okay.
Yeah.
The thing that I usually use in this illustration is when we get sick, what's the first thing we do? We go to the medicine cabinet and get some cold medicine, right? Mm-hmm. What's the next thing we do? If it gets worse, we go to the doctor. Mm-hmm. What's the next thing we do? We get a prescription. What's the next thing we do? Maybe we pray, right? It's like, no, let's reverse that. Let's pray, go to the medicine cabinet. Let's right. And it might sound silly, but that is truly what we do when we're sick. First thing we do is reach for the medicine. And I had a pastor tell me in the same area, he had a migraine that was just intense, and he had to go to church. to preach that morning. He's like, man, I might have to find somebody to preach for me. And he had his son in the back seat, and he's like, buddy, I just got a bad headache. And his son's like 3 or 4 at the time. And he's like, Dad, have you prayed about it? And he's like, no, I took medicine, right? And here's this 3-4-year-old goes, hey, Dad, can I pray for your headache? Right? And his son just says, Jesus, heal my dad, or whatever it was, right? Super simple, super straight to the point. And he's like, John, my headache was gone. It was gone, right?
Yeah.
I tried to get medicine. I tried to like man it out. But, and again, here's this pastor going to church to preach on Sunday morning, forgetting God's in control. Give this over to him. And I bring that because it is that simple. But even like we as pastors, like we forget too, right? Like, don't feel like you're the only person reaching for the medicine cabinet, right? Reaching for that quick fix instead of putting God where he belongs, right? We all do it. It's all a struggle. Not saying it's okay, but know that you're not alone in doing so. But it's our mindset that we need to try to fix, that God is the first person, first line of defense for us, that he calls us to go to him and go to him alone. And then we get to work on whatever that looks like, whether it be on the track or a headache or sickness or school. God is the first before our hard work. Even with just hard work, it's really tough. With prayer and hard work, we're looking a lot better.
Yeah. No, definitely. That's why, like, some people like to like read their Bible at night, whatever. But for me, definitely morning is the best. To start out with the word, because then you kind of put that little seed in your mind that you start with the word, and you can maybe try to keep it in your nugget a little bit better. At least for me. I mean, everyone's different, but because I always constantly need that reminder that, like, okay, what am I doing here? Who's in control? And because if not, I get drug into this world of, everything. I want more. I want this. It should go like this, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, for sure.
I've been trying to be more intentional with that as well. I mean, like, especially with this quarantine time and things not being on a schedule and things kind of being all over the place, it's easy to just get lost in the day. I mean, especially now not having racing, like at least you have, that goal to kind of keep some metronome on your life. But like, but I recently, maybe last week, had a friend suggest to me, like really casually, just that she had been focused on praying before she even gets out of bed in the morning. Like wake up, and before you do anything, like you're still in that kind of groggy state, just be like, oh, okay, like I need to pray right now, and then stop and just go into communion with God. And I started doing that, and it's really helped me to be like more disciplined as soon as I get out of bed as well, because I have set that intention of serving when the day starts. I think that's huge. And I mean,
I must start doing that.
It's
that's
nice.
Actually a really good.
That's
good.
You have that minute. Yeah, you have that minute right then, anyways. And before you pull up your phone and start scrolling through Instagram or whatever you do in the morning.
I think that's so hard. All of us can. I'm almost guarantee you, every single one of us listening, watching, have that problem. It's like, wake up in the morning, reach over, get my phone, get on Instagram. Before you know it, it is way past the time that you're supposed to get up. Now I don't have time to dig into the word. But if you don't reach over and pick up your phone and you go immediately into prayer, that's your day. And there for a long time, for me, like I wouldn't eat. I wouldn't do anything until I got into the word. That was like priority number one. I'd get a cup of coffee and then I would dive in the word, but nothing happened because whether you check your emails, whether you check your Instagram or whatever that thing is, you just tune out, and it's so hard to get back. Right. And you lose so much time that it's like, okay, you just wasted half of your day or whatever. And now it's time to get to work.
Yeah, for sure. I can't remember who was was where I saw it or wherever, but a good thing to help me stay on course more with reading and staying in prayer would be, they were saying like, you have a meeting with God. Like, it's not just like a convenience thing. It's like, hey, there's a meeting. Like, you set up your time. Like, this is my meeting with God. And like, if we had a meeting with, and God's the most important of everything. Like, if we had a meeting with the president, we wouldn't miss that. We'd be on time. We'd probably be there an hour early.
Yeah, you'd be reading notes before you showed up. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, why don't we do that? Or like, for me at least, that was a good reminder or a thing or a way to look at it. Like, this is a meeting. Like, it's me and God. And because if I get my phone out, then it's kind of out the window, and then I'm all distracted. I'm thinking about what I saw there, or I looked at this email, like, oh, what am I going to do about that? Whatever. So like, for me, it was always, or it's been really good that look at it like a meeting, like, all right, it's me and God time. Like, we're hanging out. Yeah, we're hanging out. We're having a good conversation right now.
I might set a schedule on my phone every day. I got a meeting.
Yeah, I like that.
A meeting.
Cool. Yeah, hey guys, sorry I can't make lunch. I have a meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's cool. I like that. I think it's good to have triggers, right? Because it's so easy to get caught up. I mean, I remember I used to go days and sometimes it would be weeks, even like once I had kind of taken on a Christian life, I would go multiple days, or like I said, sometimes a week or more without praying at all. Like, it would just not be a part of my routine, and I would be okay with that. And like, hey, I'm trying to live the life I'm living, but didn't have that communion with God to guide me, which I now see is hugely problematic, but is something you have to like set things for yourself to get to. For me, the biggest thing even still was about 2 years ago now, before I went away to school, but after I had stopped racing. I got accepted to the religion studies program at Columbia, and that was like insane to me, and so clearly a God thing. And so I wanted to try to do something profound to like grow my faith with that. And so I didn't have anything to like work out for, so I could let my body get ruined. So I did a week-long water fast. And I had read about fasting in the Bible, and I was like, I'm going to go for it. Like, I want to do a spiritual fast where I just don't eat anything at all or consume anything but water for 7 days. And it was really gnarly, but I had to lean on the strength of God through that. And it gave me this appreciation for the giver over the gift, and this perspective of all the things that we get in life come from him. We should thank him for those. And ever since then, in the 2 years since, every time I have a meal, it is like a trigger of, oh man, I'm about to eat. Like, this came from God. I should pray for this. And it's really helped my prayer life a lot. Like, I don't think I've gone a full day without praying in quite a while, because every meal is like that trigger of, you should pray now. And when I have that trigger, trying not to suppress it.
Yeah, no, that's actually, that's a good thing. Cause everything's so convenient that we kind of take it for granted.
Yep.
Like, it's just, so you just go to the store and buy food.
Yeah.
I mean, that's or whatever,
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Freddie, a couple things that I'm actually, we've hung out quite a bit, and I've known you for quite a while. Something that I am very curious and kind of embarrassed that we've never talked about. What made you come over here to the States, man? Like, obviously a dirt bike, but how did all that happen?
Yeah. So, in 2010, I won the Swedish 250 championship. So it was kind of like, well, I knew I wasn't going to be able to necessarily have it as a job in Sweden. And I didn't really think about it that way either, I guess. But it was kind of like, what are we going to do? What's the next step? Like, are we going to go to the GPs, or like, where are we going to take this career in a sense? And the coach I had at that time, his wife's brother lived in California and was running one of those vacation camps. So my coach was saying like, hey, do you want to go to America and race motocross there? And as soon as he said that, I'm like, yeah, I don't care about anything else. I don't care about Europe. Because I actually had a Suzuki team, because I'd raced a couple European championship rounds and done pretty well. And I actually had a Suzuki team that had contacted me and were interested. And I didn't pursue that at all. I never even asked, like, what is that going to look like? Because I was so focused on just like, I'm going to go to America. This is going to be awesome. So coming into 2011, I was still in school. It's not very common in Sweden to be homeschooled. I don't think I've ever met anyone that's homeschooled. So I was still in school. It's my last year. My school let me finish 2 months early so I could come here and get ready or be ready for outdoors in 2011. So I don't know how my parents did it, but they somehow forked up a lot of money and got me over here and to do outdoors in 2011. So I did that in 2011. I went back home to Sweden in the fall because my visa would only last 6 months. Went home in the fall, worked during the winter, came back in 2012, did the same thing. And then same thing again, went back home, worked. And then coming into 13, I came over again, did the same thing. And then in 2014 is when I kind of been here full time. That's kind of when the ball started rolling a lot more. I did a little bit better. I got a fill-in ride. Things started kind of like moving along in a sense as far as my career. And then I met my now wife, Amy, in 2012. And she had a huge influence on me as far as getting to know the Lord in a sense. And so in 2013 is when I committed my life to Christ, and I kind of surrendered to him that like, hey, dude, I can't do it on my own. Like I keep messing things up. I don't know how to fix it. So take over, which was kind of like cool because coming into 14, my fill-in ride. So we know that Jay, obviously, Kennard, he's had some injuries through his career, but he was not the one I was filling in for. So my first teammate I had was Trey Kennard, and I'm like a new believer. Like I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing really. Like, how am I gonna I don't know much, to put it that way. So it's kind of cool to see how as soon as I committed my life to Christ, that God started putting these people, Christian people, in my life, and Trey being my first teammate, and he's obviously, his faith is cool. Like he's got it down. Like, you can get to learn a lot from him. So being his teammate was awesome, and just the way God did it for me, and he really showed me that he's real in that sense, because I couldn't have done it like on my own. And then, I met you guys. I think I met you, John, the first time we were at a coffee shop. You were going to give Trey something because Trey was going somewhere. I don't think we met. It was later at night. That was the first time I met you, I think. So that must have been like 2014 probably. Yeah. So like God put like people like you in my life, and like that's how my faith kind of started snowballing as well, I guess, in a sense, and becoming stronger. For sure. And then I met Shane, and I don't know, it's been an awesome journey for sure. But that's how it started.
How did you meet Amy? Like, how did that happen?
It's kind of funny story. So 2012 was the fall of 2012, and I went on Facebook, because Facebook was the thing back then for sure. And I saw a photo of a rider, and I was in the background. And it was Amy who had taken that photo. So I messaged Amy like, hey, like, did you get any photos of me? And she said, no. I'm like, dang it. So I next weekend I asked like, oh, maybe you can get some photos of me, whatever. I probably didn't word it that way. I was probably like a little hot shot the way I worded it. But anyways, so I met her in the fall of 2012, and she was shooting photos. And then she shot photos for Ally Sports, which I think was NBC back then, for outdoors. She was kind of like the fill-in photographer for some of the outdoor rounds. And so that's how we met, was just she grew up, she's like a motor type of family. Like her dad passed away when she was younger, but like they had snowmobiles and she had a dirt bike and quads, and so she's just into it. Like I think she's a bigger motocross fan than I am actually, which helps a lot. So, but yeah, so that's how we met, and then we got married in 15, and now we have a little baby girl as well. So it's pretty neat how it's worked out.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool not to like back up too far, but like you talk about how God put people in your life right away. As soon as you were a baby Christian, like Trey was there as a teammate and then kind of brought you into that world. And from my personal experience, like when I was kind of just starting to dive into the word a bit more on my own and kind of started that growth on my own was when I was riding amateur stuff with the pro circuit team and had Thomas Covington, who was also doing that. And Thomas and I started hanging out more together, and we would ride together and train together sometimes. And then one time I was just staying out at his house, and he was like, hey, like this afternoon, if you want to stay, like this afternoon, I'm going to Bible study, and it's like a bunch of moto guys, you should come. And then he introduced me to PanicREV, and then I started going to study with John and all those guys. And that was like, grew me a ton, but it was God just kind of, I feel like God just putting the right people around me to bridge that gap from, hey, we're both Christians at the track. Let's take it a little further now.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, that's my experience. That's how God's worked for me. He will make it very clear, to put it that way.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
especially, yeah.
Now with the little girl too, like, man, what's life like as a racer? As a dad, as a husband? Is that? I know some people do really, really well balancing all that, and others others have it's ended their career to a point.
Oh, sure,
right?
okay, yeah.
Like, it's just not, racing is not their priority anymore. So, how have you dealt with that?
Yeah, it was. It's been different, that's for sure. But in reality, it actually hasn't been that big of a change. Like, yeah, my perspective have changed. Like, okay, I have a little human here. God's blessed me to take care of, and I'm gonna do the best I can for that. But as far as like interfering with racing, I would say it hasn't.
Yeah.
I think part of it too, because Amy is awesome and she loves dirt bikes as much as I do, if not more. So like she's taken on, a lot to take care of the baby and help me as much as she can so that I can focus on my racing. And that is our main income as well. So like me going racing it's a job, but she can, come to around still. And now it's a little different with the Corona stuff. We're actually like no minors allowed to come to a race here, but yeah. But normally, like, they can come to all the rounds. So it's still, like, I would say if I would get a normal job, I would spend less time with them than racing. So it's kind of giving me the carrot to, like, I want to continue racing because racing is fun. It's awesome. And I get to spend a lot of time with my family doing it. So it's, for me, it's actually made racing more important because that's where I make my money.
Yeah.
And I get to spend even more time with my family. So having the baby, like, yeah, it's a big change, but at the end of the day, it's not, in a sense. Like, it put a lot more pressure on Amy. But like it's just awesome. I mean, you come home from the track and you walk in the door and you hear down the hall like Dada, and you got a little baby girl coming run at you. It's pretty cool for sure. So it's an amazing experience, or huge blessing God's given us to experience. So
for sure. You go ahead, Zach.
Will she ride?
I say no, but she probably will. She likes to sit on the dirt bike and just try to use the throttle and push on things. And if I'm out in the garage and I have the bike at the house, whatever, she'll come out there and grab a T-handle and try to like screw the knobby on the tire and stuff like that. So I have a feeling she's probably going to want to do something. But I mean, whatever she will want to do in the future, I'll support her. But I wish she will. I hope that she will pick something else and don't that way.
Yeah. I saw you post, either you or Amy post a picture of her with a T-handle playing around on your front wheel, and you're telling your mechanic guys to watch out. Somebody's coming.
Yeah, she's picking it up. It's kind of crazy, actually. That's one thing of having a kid is like they pick up on so much stuff.
Yeah,
you have no idea, like, where do you get that from? Like, where did you even see that? Like, she'll like pick up things and think it's a microphone and start like singing. And neither Amy or I have ever done that, I think. So I'm like, where did she get that? So like,
funny.
It's actually kind of crazy. It's kind of cool to see though, with like the tools, like she will grab plastic and try to push them on the bike, but it's obviously at the wrong spot, but she's just pushing it on. She knows it's supposed to go on there somewhere.
Yeah.
It's like, man, that's actually like super cool.
That's funny.
Can relate, or you can, I guess, put it into Christianity as well. Like, hey, we need to kind of be like that. Like, we don't fully know what we're doing, but let's at least try. So
yeah, let's walk. Let's take steps.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, that ties into your verse really well too, right? I mean, it's his understanding transcends ours. But he'll give it to us.
Yeah. Cool, Freddie. Well, that's going to bring us to the end, but we finish every show with a final five questions for our guest that are kind of fun, make you think a little bit and a little bit off the wall. So you good to partake?
Oh, I don't know.
Nothing too crazy. Crazy. All right, here we go. Number 1. What is your least favorite household chore to do?
Loading the dishwasher for sure.
Dishwasher.
Yeah, I do not like loading dirty dishes, which is, it's kind of like I almost rather wash them by hand than loading it, which is silly. I don't know why, but I hate doing dishes.
My thing there, right, is always unloading and putting away. Like loading, I'm cool. Unloading and putting it away.
I'm not too bad with putting away because then it's clean. And it's some satisfaction for me to fill up the cabinets with dish or the bowls and plates again. I'm not too bad with that.
I don't mind either of those tasks. I'm not a laundry guy. I push laundry to the last minute. Like I'll wait 2.5, 3 weeks. I have plenty of underwear is the problem. Like I have more underwear than anything else. So I'll start like recycling shirts at some point before
boy. Turn them inside out.
Yeah, whatever you got to do, right?
I do. Sorry, I do have to say, before Pam and I got married, I told her, look, I'm all good with doing pretty much anything, but there's 2 things that you have to know. I do not do laundry, and I do not dust. Right? Like I have stood pretty firm in the laundry thing, but I'll dust at this point. Like I'll dust, but the laundry thing, again, I'll throw it in the washer, I'll throw it in the dryer. But folding and stuff, folding and putting away is not in my to-do list, man.
I actually kind of enjoy that.
No.
Put some music on, I'm good with that.
When she's not home, it's like, okay, take it all out, throw it in a drawer, and then we'll go from there.
See, you'll just grab a new PanicREV shirt out of the plastic and right, there we go.
She wonders why I have so many.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Number 2. Aliens. Are they real or are they fake? Did God bless us with another
I would say they are fake. Yeah.
I'm there with you, but Zach might have a different standpoint, man.
So I think I can't look at, we got angels. They're not aliens necessarily, but sure. I do believe that, God's made more living things in the sense it's just angels he made angels. So I'm not saying maybe there is an angel or aliens, but no, at this point, no. Maybe he'll convince me one day that there is, or maybe Zach can convince me that there are.
I'm not going to try to
aliens, but-
convince anybody. I'm not here trying to be some kooky guy. I'm just saying that I think it's very well possible. I think there's a lot of science that indicates that it's unlikely we're the only ones. And with that, I say that the Bible didn't really talk about dinosaurs, but I believe there were dinosaurs before us.
Yeah, but there's proof of dinosaurs.
But so why would the Bible doesn't necessarily disqualify aliens from existing, right? Just because it doesn't talk about them, it's just not a book about aliens. It's a book about us.
I just like to go with proof. You know,
okay, I can listen. I can send you some videos recently released from the U.S. Navy, brother.
Hey, send me some stuff.
That Tic Tac thing flying. But I'm not an alien guy. I don't want to, misnomer myself as an alien guy. I'm not that guy. I'm just saying if the universe is as expansive as science seems to indicate, it is hard to believe there isn't some sort of life somewhere else. Even if that's a plant somewhere else, that's life somewhere else.
Yeah. No, I mean, I could definitely, I could be open for it. But at this point, I do not believe in aliens.
I don't think they're little green guys. I don't think they're little green guys that are going to come land and check us out, though.
Yeah. I'm with Freddie. With more studying, more like here, I could get there, but as of today, not there.
I'm just open. I want to make that clear.
Okay.
I'm just open to the idea of aliens. I'm also a big fan of Blink-182.
Yeah, come on.
And Tom DeLonge was the old lead singer, also Boxcar Racer, Angels and Airwaves. He is insane about aliens. I think he also believes in Bigfoot, which kind of problematizes it for me a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? Like when you throw that in, it's not a good piggyback. I don't
guys watch the video that Kyle Cowling did for Meta
with Tom?
With Tom.
Tom's a legend, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like,
moto guy.
Yeah. Well, kind of.
Well, street bike guy.
Street bike guy. But all right, number 3.
Move on. Everybody thinks I'm a coon now.
I mean, they probably already did, but now they're like, oh man, I
want to put out there that I do fully accept that the Earth is a globe. Not a flat earther. I'm just saying maybe there's life. Maybe there's life. Who knows?
All right. If you could choose any era, what would you choose to live in? What era would you choose to live in?
Right now.
Right now.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, this is all I know. I think it would be cool to go back and like spend like a few days in different eras for sure.
Yeah.
But like, it'd be awesome to be whenever they first made a car and you could start going fast or something like that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to live in it. And also
just visit.
Yeah, just visit, like Back to the Future, So, because reading through the Bible, like the world has always been kind of crazy. So I would say this is the best time to where it's almost the least crazy. Like you can pretty much do whatever you want. No one's going to kill you or stone you and whatever.
Sure.
So I kind of like where we're at right now. Like,
right on.
Yeah, I don't want to get shot for, I don't know, going and stepping. I guess I could get shot
right
if
now.
I step on someone's yard.
Right
but
now, maybe.
I'm just saying.
Sure. It's different. This might be
I wouldn't want to get stoned or thrown off a cliff because I did something that's actually not that big a deal.
Or because they thought you were a witch. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
He did witchcraft. Let's light him on fire and see if he burns.
Yeah, exactly. So I like now. I like
cool.
it. Now it's pretty awesome, actually.
Would you go to the future or no, if that were an option?
Yeah, heck yeah. Hey, go visit it. See how it is.
Just a visit, though. Just a visit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
you're a visit only guy.
Yeah, because I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if I would want to be here then. I mean, shoot, I like grass and seeing movies in the future. There's never any grass or trees left. So, I don't know.
You could be living on the moon. Who really knows?
Living
Mars.
Mars.
And we'd be aliens.
Yeah.
True.
Martians, at least.
Martians. Elon, he's working on it. So
he is
working on it.
Yep.
All right.
That would be kind of cool. I wouldn't mind going there visiting, actually.
Yeah, but you're always visiting. You don't.
Yeah. I like where I'm at.
Freddie's a visitor. He's a journeyman.
Yeah. I like to travel, but I don't want to stay there for too long.
That's funny. All right. When traveling, what's one thing you do not leave home without? And I hope that it's not what I think.
Well, there's the obvious stuff like toothbrushes and stuff. So I'm not even gonna go into that. But I've actually started a new thing now. I don't know if it's because I'm getting older and more picky, but I have to have my pillow.
your own pillow. I like it.
Yeah, because I used to be able to sleep on the floor and have a towel as a pillow, whatever. It didn't matter. But as I've gotten a little older, I think it's because I got to actually try. It's like getting a factory ride. Like you're riding your privateer bike and you think it's awesome. And then you get to ride a factory bike and you're like, oh, I didn't know what this was like.
I didn't know
and
how
I think
good
it's
this
such
is.
an awesome analogy because it's so true. Like having tested a factory bike versus raced on privateer bikes, it is like, oh my God, this is what you guys race on? Oh, wait, no, I don't want to go back.
Yeah.
Freddie just said he's got a factory pillow and the hotels are privateer.
Yeah, man. Because like I never realized it until actually it's a new thing. So Amy's been like the pillow, like she's like, she will not go her pillow anywhere. And I'll be like, oh, that's silly. Like you don't need a pillow. Not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And then she got me a pillow for Christmas. And that changed everything. I'm like, this is the pillow. Like this is awesome. I'm not going anywhere without this thing. So
you're gonna have to drop us a link of what kind of pillow this is. The factory pillow.
This is like a memory foam chopped up one. Like I don't like the memory foams that are like solid, but this is like small memory foam pieces.
Yep.
And you can take out memory foam if you want. So I like small pillows and kind of not that very big because I want to be able to wrestle them around and not choke myself while sleeping. So this pillow, I don't know how to find it. I'll ask Amy for the link.
Yeah.
It's somewhere on Amazon.
Yeah, we get sponsored too?
Yeah, I was going to say, are you receiving money from them? Because this is a pretty bold endorsement right now.
I'm not, but maybe I'll ask them before I send the link.
Yeah.
If you get a discount code.
Or if you have like one of those Amazon store things, like maybe you could add this to your store.
Freddie's like, I don't remember what it's called. And then he's going to bring us to Amy's page, which is just all pillows. Somewhere on here.
Somewhere on here. Yeah, no, for sure.
I thought like most people are going to give that when I started, I said, hopefully you don't give the answer. I assume everybody, my phone. And I just hate that answer. Right. Like,
yeah, I mean, I like my phone and it's good and all, but I actually kind of hate it at the same time.
I was going to say, like, I actually hate my phone, but it's a thing that I kind of have to have at this point. So
it sucks me in too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going to Isaac Teasdale, you guys know, you guys should do a podcast with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyways, going to his place in North Carolina, you go there and it's out in the middle of nowhere. Like the driveway, I'm not lying. It's more than 15 minutes long.
Oh, wow.
So you go there and your phone says no service. So you don't even need to bring it like when you go outside. So that's actually, I love going up there. It's awesome.
Yeah.
The Master Mission, North Carolina. You guys should look it up. It's awesome.
We'll check it
out. My travel thing was I was that guy. I was phone and wallet. But as long as I have my phone and wallet, I'm good on anything else because I can replace it and I can get it. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to, but everything else can be made.
Doesn't sound like you get Freddie's pillow very easily.
Well, I don't. That's the thing is I've always been a privateer pillow guy.
Oh, okay.
And so I don't know what I'm missing. The problem is once I use pillow, then I'm really out of it.
Then you got to go for it.
I'm gonna send you the link. You're gonna be like, I can't go anywhere now.
So you take it to all hotels, everything. You just use
I mean, this is a pretty new thing.
Okay.
Like this.
But you have it now.
Oh yeah, it's downstairs right now in my bed.
Right on. Okay, here we go. Last one.
All right, last one.
One skill that you don't have that you wish you could obtain.
I've always been a little bit jealous of people that can sing.
Sing.
Yeah, I wish I could sing. That would be pretty cool.
I think that's what Shane said too.
That is what Shane said.
Is that? Go ahead.
No, I don't know. It's just kind of. I always sing, but it sounds horrible. So I wish it could.
Does Amy say it sounds good?
No.
Not good at all.
She's not gonna.
Please stop. She's
not gonna lie to me.
That's funny.
So I don't really sing in front of people because I know I suck at it. But if I'm on, like, if I get into like get some Andomini on, coming in hot type of thing, on the fajitas, then I might get going. But like, yeah. So I like to sing. though I know I suck. So I've come to terms with it, you know.
I think it's the majority. I think it's the majority of our sport. It's weird to me that there are kind of those anomaly guys that can sing. Like Justin Hill is really good. Thomas Covington, really good. Like they have really nice voices and can play guitar. And I don't really understand, like in our sport, it doesn't seem like the two are compatible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's mellow, right? Like you're aggro on the bike and I need something to chill me out. And I guess, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's because I think every time I sing, I'm in a good mood too. So like singing makes you happy.
Yeah.
You know,
do you follow boxing at all? Do you know who Tyson Fury is?
I do not.
Oh, John, do you? No. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this guy's the world. Sorry, this is a little tangent at the very end after Freddie's question, but it's worth it. Tyson Fury. He's the world heavyweight champion right now of boxing. He had been like 5 or 6 years ago now. He won the world championship title, whatever, and then had like a bad slip into depression. And he's always dealt with like depression and anxiety and stuff. It was really bad, and his life got really bad, and he dealt with a lot of problems. In the last few years has been able to kind of figure that out in his life and seek help and come out of that. He's also a strong believer. He just re-won the world title a few months back, I think in like February. So got back to the top of the mountain kind of from this horrible low after his world championship of almost retiring. But he's one that when he finishes his fight, he is not a great singer, but he sings like with his whole heart and the whole crowd goes with him. So like he won the world title and then sang Sweet Caroline at the top of his lungs, and the entire stadium was on their feet screaming with him. Like in this, it's such a cool moment to see him like
check that out.
And it's also in his speech, as soon as he wins, the first thing he says when they put the mic in front of him is that he gives it up to his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, like would not be able to do it without God. I thought that was really rad.
That's awesome.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, you guys should check him out.
If I get on the podium,
just sing. I'll sing.
I'm just gonna start.
No fans.
Andy Mineo right now. It's the only thing I can sing a little bit about. So I'll just be like, I'm coming in hot, just like a fajita. Be on the podium right there. And the team's gonna be like, what?
And you gotta like look to the crowd like you're getting them to sing.
Yeah.
So
it's like Shane been pumping up the crowd after his win, pointing at people.
We got those little like boards that they put up. Like with people's faces, you know.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Right on, Freddie. Well, dude, I appreciate your time, man, and looking forward to watching you race Sunday again and getting after it and doing what you love and sharing Jesus with the people out there and just being a light. So we appreciate your time, dude, and keep plugging away and enjoying what you got there.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. This is fun. Catching up a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Good time.
Definitely.
For sure.
Thank you, Freddie.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, make the most of this day of recovery, and we'll obviously be cheering for you come Sunday.
All right, thank you guys.
Yes, sir. Blessings, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
See you.
Cool. Thanks for tuning in to RevUp. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any new content. Check us out every Thursday at 5 p.m. And if you're interested in learning more about PanicREV, head over to panicrev.org or follow us on Instagram. Until next week, I've been John Parkinson. This has been RevUp. Stay healthy and God bless.